Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to another episode of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, along with my co-host, the Prime Moves, halfway around the world. Tim Hendricks, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited for this list. It's one of our favorites, so we have to do it.
Yep. And by the way, happy birthday to you too. Yesterday was your birthday, so we won't say how old you are, but happy birthday.
Thank you.
So, all right. Yep. It's our favorite list. It's our birthday list. So we'll get going with June 6th or July 6th. I'm sorry, I'm a month behind. July 6th, Tim. So start with number 5.
How many do you think we're going to get?
How many are we going to get? I could see 3 for sure, possibly 4. A slim chance we go 5 for 5.
It's going to be a real slim chance because I think I've got a couple curveballs.
Okay.
Right. I think the two that you're thinking of are probably my 6 and 7.
Ooh.
But and the funny thing is I'm gonna start off with a curveball.
All right, you go with it.
I'm a big fan and a big fan of movies, and a lot of people know this. I think a lot of my friends and my family are all a big fan of movies. And Disney came out with a series back in the early 2000s, and everybody remembers this series of movies because of Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley. But the one guy and the series came out with probably the best villain it could have started off with, and that's Captain Barbossa. And to me, I think you couldn't have picked a better person than Jeffrey Rush to play Captain Barbossa in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He comes back, and I believe he plays Barbossa again 3-4 times. But yeah, that's my number 5. It's Captain Barbossa, Jeffrey Rush.
Okay. Yep. Curveball and 5 for 5's out the window. All right, my number 5. We're going to stay in the acting business, but we're going with TV shows. And I think they might have done a couple movies, maybe even together. I'm going with a set of twins here. We most likely saw them on Sister. I also do believe they've done a couple movies, and I think they've done TV shows separate. That's Tina and Tamara Maurer.
Yep, we're good. We're not going to have 5 for 5. That's not even. I don't even think it's my 6 or 7.
Well, the thing is I have one on there, and I went back through my list, and I was looking at them again, just in case I missed somebody, because we love when that happens. And they popped up, so I had to take my number 5 and make them my number 6. So, all right, you're number 4.
They in Hollywood, they always tell you, if you can't find a job, create your job.
Ooh, okay, that's a good one.
It's good because this man wasn't getting any acting roles in the mid 70s like he had expected, like he had hoped, because he figured he had this distinct look and he had this distinct sound, and so he wrote himself a role. He wrote a movie for himself where he wanted to be the good guy, the great guy, the feel good story, and then he ends up writing it where his character loses in the first movie, which I thought is refreshing, and I like it. And he pretty much he made a huge stardom off that. I believe got an Oscar nomination for that role, but he is officially, for the longest time in the 80s and 90s, Arnold Schwarzenegger said he's the reason why everything he did in the world was to do something bigger and better and badder than my number 4, and that's Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, that's weird that you have to write your own movie or script to get yourself noticed. So my number 4 recently in the last, well, I would say what, 5-ish years. He's been in like everything, every movie, every TV show. I think he has his little own talk show kind of thing, ice bath challenge or something. I think he's like 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", somewhere around there. But him and The Rock together seem like they strike gold. That's the funny man Kevin Hart.
My number 7.
Ooh, okay.
And if you ever get a chance, message my brother. My brother has been lucky enough to have met Kevin Hart for Gator Growl in Gainesville. It's the homecoming pep rally for the University of Florida. My brother was lucky enough to cater the dinner afterwards, and the two comedians they had was Aziz Ansari and Kevin Hart. If you ever get a chance, talk to him.
Aziz is funny too. That guy's funny.
He is. Guys, that especially if you ever watch Parks and Recreation, Aziz Ansari is hilarious.
All right, number 3.
My number 3, we've actually had his father on one of our lists. I want to say it was June. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But he is the former owner of if I get this one wrong, I want to say he's the former owner of the Texas Rangers. But everybody else knows him for being the president of the United States. President of the United States during probably one of the hardest times that we've had to ever happen on U.S. soil outside of something we've done to ourselves. He really rallied the United States, the citizens, the country. And, if it weren't for him, I think we might have backslid. And I'm a Democrat, and I'm talking about a Republican. But, I admire and respect everything he did for the country during our definite time of need. And that's George W. Bush.
Yeah. All right. My number 3, I believe we've had her husband on one of our lists. I'm trying to think if we did a special list, but I'm pretty sure we have. If we haven't, we will have her husband on there. And that's one of the first ladies. Matter of fact, I think it was I think George W. Sr. beat him out for presidency, and that's Nancy Reagan at number 3. Your number 2.
My number 2. Most people who know me really well know that I'm a Batman fan. You're looking at this going, okay, you've lost me now. But I remember growing up, and I'm a child of the 70s when it's not to, as Brandon Big B said so nicely, we're not going to bring up my age. But my first taste, as it were, of Batman was of the 66 series, the 1966 series that they made with Adam West and the Boy Wonder, Robin, and the Boy Wonder is Burt Ward.
I did see the name on there. So we're at number 2. My number 2, C2C wouldn't be the same if he sniped people. My number 2 is your number 3. And that's George W. And you spoke about 9/11 a little bit. It's just heartbreaking because he was at either first grade or kindergarten to read a story to them, and they broke in and had to tell him, and like he got choked up and he couldn't even finish, which rightfully so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one moment I'll remember. I mean, 9/11 for sure, but just seeing them break into that and they had video and stuff of that, and just seeing his reaction really got to me. So you're number one.
Like we said, Batman fan.
Yep. Well, you're pointing to your Superman.
No, there's Batman. There's a Batman logo inside the Superman.
Gotcha.
But again, it's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number one is your number three. I saw Nancy Reagan, and to me, I think what she tried to do in the 80s basically was trying to do what every first lady's trying to do now. They try to get themselves a cause, try to get themselves so they feel, you know, important, be able to do something where they're not trying to lose their mind in the White House, because basically your husband is the most powerful man in the free world, as they like to call it. But Nancy Reagan, what she did in the war against drugs, yeah, we still haven't finished that war, but you know, to start it takes a lot. And you know, I respect what Nancy Reagan did.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it might be overlooked, but I mean, maybe, you know, as everybody likes to throw the GOAT word around, maybe she's the GOAT of the first ladies. I mean, like you said, she tries to get her name out there. My number one, I think you said it well at your number four. And the guy's still going strong, acting and directing, and you know, and producing, and that's Sylvester Stallone. I mean, you know, for some reason, the guy, you know, I ain't gonna say touch gold every time, but 99% of the time he's touching gold. So, all right. So,
okay, I got a question. How close were you putting 50 Cent on?
Top 10 maybe.
Yeah, he was my number 6. I was like, oh,
I had Willie on there, Willie Randolph, and I took him off.
I had him at number 8.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to July 12th. That was the 6th, so we'll move over to the 12th. I know we talked backstage. I know we're going to have one for sure on here because the way you're talking. God, we could. I could see 3, maybe 4.
I could see
depending on which way we went, what way you went. I know which way I went. So
three's going to be three's pretty solid. 4's, it depends. Yeah. 4's is going to be a real tough one.
Yeah. All right, I will start. You know, because we like to flip flop here, so I'm not always sniping you. Well, we're wrestling fans. As a matter of fact, tonight, Between the Ropes will be on, and I got a couple wrestlers here. One a current one, one a semi-current one. I mean, I think he's doing some producing, but and that is one half of the tag team champs, Sami Zayn, and the other one, I liked him as a Hurricane, but Gregory Helms.
Sami Zayn?
Yeah, Sami Zayn today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see Sammy.
Yep.
But you know, it's not C2C unless you're sniping.
All right.
I remember him part of 3 Count in WCW.
That was a great one. That's
I love that because it's just so.
I like it when they put Abbott in there.
Yeah, it's like Tank Abbott with Sugar Shane and the others, and you know, and it was so hilarious when he comes back as Gregory Helms, and then all of a sudden he becomes the Hurricane. And yeah, my number 5 is Gregory Helms, Sugar Shane Helms.
God, I can't even think of the other 2 characters. It was Helms. It was. I can see it was a blonde kid.
Yeah, that's a blonde kid. I can always remember. It's. I can't remember him off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't either.
I didn't even know Sami Zayn. That's a screwed up thing. I didn't even see Sammy. That's how bad that is.
Yeah. My number 4, in the 70s, 80s, 90s was very, very popular for workout videos, sweating to the oldies. As he got older, kind of disappeared. I actually just saw an article on him. He did a recent interview that actually I don't know how recent it was, but they got in touch with him, and he just wanted to be by himself and away from life, and said supposedly he's going to make a return soon. So, and that is one Milton Teagle Simmons, or we know him as Richard Simmons. So, you're number 4.
My number 4, again, we have to make this a quote and a motto on C2C. It's not C2C unless we're sniping.
Really?
Yep.
It's been a while since you got 2 for 2 like this.
My number 4 is Richard Simmons.
Okay.
My mom had Sweating to the Oldies. My mom's now going to officially.
I think a lot of parents had oldies,
I
or
think
it was always on as a infomercial. And,
right. But I think my mom will officially kill me now that I said my mom had Sweating to the Oldies. But I'm going to help my mom out a little bit. But I've watched it. I've done it a couple times. Yeah.
So my number 3, we're going to go into a sport we don't talk about, or we rarely talk about, and possibly she could have been, we'll throw out the word GOAT in the sport. So it's a lady, figure skating, mid 90s, I think she was popular, maybe early 90s, and that's one Christy Yamaguchi. So,
yeah, we're not going 5 for 5.
All right. I'm happy with that. All right, you're number 3.
Here's the funny thing is you started off with wrestling and you said you had 2, and I'm like, okay. He put both of them. He put both of my 2 at number 5, and I'm like, that doesn't feel good for me.
That would have been something, huh?
But I went with a collegiate wrestler from the University of Minnesota.
Yep.
Now lives in a province in Canada. Former I'm trying to figure out if he's ever won the Triple Crown in WWE. You already know who I'm talking about? So
yeah. I don't think he's won the IC title.
Okay, he might have, but I just don't know right off the top of my head. But I think they brought him. It's funny because they had Paul Heyman bring him in as the next big thing.
Yep.
I loved it. I always wanted, when he first came in, I always wanted to see him go up against Batista because those 2 guys are just massive, massive guys. And I always wanted to see that match. And I always thought that match was going to be a WrestleMania match, but I don't think it ever happened. But the reigning, defending, the beast incarnate. My number 3 is Brock Lesnar.
Yep. Well, like we said it already twice this time, and this one you just sniped me at, because Brock Lesnar's number 2 on my board. Built from Minnesota, but he's not, like you said, he lives up in Canada, I think. He's actually done some promoting with the butcher shop up there or something.
Yeah. Did you ever see those videos?
Oh, yeah, I've seen those videos.
Those videos are awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, the Beast, and if you guys don't watch wrestling, I actually kind of like this cowboy-looking Brock Lesnar. I did. But married to Reno Mero. Everybody knows Sable, so they got a couple kids. And
you can't say that. You can't say that if you're doing WWE events.
What?
You can't use the name Sable.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Well, but hey, so everybody knows for C2C fans, we're not doing a WWE event. So Sable.
Yeah. And actually, Brock's 2 kids, they got a future in the business that they wanted. So, yeah, my number 2 is Brock Lesnar. You're number 1.
My number 2.
You're number 2.
My number 2. I don't condone what he did, but what he did outside of what he did in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. For the longest time, he was America's dad in the 80s. Again, sometimes it's hard to tell about a guy for what he's done in his prison time and now that he's out. But for the longest, my mom loved him as a stand-up comedian, and my number 2 is Bill Cosby.
Wow. Yeah, I'm with you. Because my number one is America's Favorite Dad in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I know they redid the Cosby Show late 90s, which did not work out for me at least. Well, yeah, I mean, who didn't watch the Cosby Show and want to be a part of that family or be friends of that family? Yeah, we don't condone what he did outside of the limelight. We follow him for what he did on TV. That's Bill Cosby. So kind of interesting to see who your number one is now.
All right, my number one. Like I said, I knew we weren't going 5 for 5 because my number one was going to be a bit out there. My number one is a man who did a lot of things with peanuts. He's the reason why we found out that peanuts have different type of you can do different types of things with peanuts. He's the reason why we have peanut butter. He's also the reason why we have the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama.
Okay.
It is the reason why we had the Tuskegee Airmen in World War II. The regiment of black pilots, fighter pilots in World War II, and that's George Washington Carver.
Okay, I thought for sure you were going to say it was Mr. Peanut or something. You pulled that one on me too. You had
Donald Duck.
Donald Duck. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good curveball. Hey, 4 for 5, 2 for 2 on the first two. I mean, I figured you wouldn't have Christy Yamaguchi.
No, I kind of stayed away from it.
But it was shocking that we had 2 for 2 right off the bat there.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the 18th of July, which is today. So happy birthday to anybody that has a birthday today, and you share the birthdays with these people. So, we could easily go 5 for 5, but I don't think we will because I think I pulled one off that you're going to have on there. I'm gonna safely say 3, and I'll say we nailed the number one.
I think we have 4.
Oh, okay. I can see 4. I can see 4 or 5.
I think we win 4. 5 is going to be difficult because I think your homer pick.
Yeah. Well, if you already said that, then yeah, we don't got 5.
Is my number 6.
Okay. I have a feeling my number 6 is the guy that you replaced him with.
Probably.
So
probably
that
good.
That would be bad. Well, we'll see. So go ahead. Wait, no, you started. No, I started. So you go ahead.
You started the last one.
Yep.
My number 5. It's funny because I'm trying to remember the first time I ever saw this guy as an actor, and I can't ever remember what his first one was. and I'm really trying to figure out what it is. But he's one of those guys who does, blockbuster movies and everything. Even if he does a movie where he just says 3 words over and over and over and over and over again, he draws. He's been drawing with the Fast and Furious saga. He did 2 out of the 3 Triple X movies. He's put himself on the map with Pitch Black and the I can't remember the name of the guys, but I didn't watch much of them. I have them, didn't watch most of them. But when you find out when he was a kid, he was actually in a breakdancing gang. And
really?
Yeah. Oh, there's actually a video on YouTube where he actually has hair, and it looks really, really weird. And my number 5 is a man named Mark Vincent, but everybody else in the entire world knows him as Groot or Vin Diesel.
Good. My number 5 again. we're wrestling guys. And this guy had a little sidekick, toy doll, I don't know, part of a human body that was named Head. So my number 5, another hardcore legend per se, and that's Al Snow. Your number 4.
My number 4, C2C Rankem. The disclaimer, it should be, if you make a pick, expect it to be sniped. My number 4 is one of the ECW originals. Came out, gave new meaning for the words we want Head.
Yep.
And my number 4 is your number 5, Al Snow.
Yep. My number 4 is an actor, a nice, good-looking bald guy. Yeah, you had him at number 5, and I was just looking up his credentials here because I wanted to see if I could throw. He was in the movie Saving Private Ryan. He was Private Aaron Costello. I didn't know that, but that was a trivia. But the movie I think you're thinking of,
Boiler Room.
was Knockout Guys or something. It was from New York.
No, it was. I've seen that movie, but the movie that as soon as you brought up Saving Private Ryan, I thought of the movie, and it was Boiler Room.
Oh, I haven't seen Boiler Room.
Yeah,
but no, I liked him in Triple X. Like you said, he's in the Fast and Furious series. But yeah, that's Mr. Vin Diesel. So you're number 3.
my number 3. I had no clue that my number 3 won the batting championship in 1971, won the MVP in 1971, is a former teammate of Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews and Warren Spahn. Most people today now know him for being the former manager of the New York Yankees. Now has a job inside the MLB with I want to say with competition. I may be wrong completely. My dad loved the guy. My dad had his rookie card, so I know my dad loved him because my dad was a huge Milwaukee Braves fan. Played on the Braves with his brother Frank. So this one's a little bit of this is my homer pick because I know where your homer pick is going. Matter of fact, probably at number 3. And my number 3 is Joe Torre.
I missed Torre. I did not even see him there. But yeah, I'm going baseball. Great center fielder. Iconic moment that we talked about last week of him robbing Barry Bonds in the Milwaukee All-Star game. Played for the Anaheimers, played, I think, Detroit, and I think he came back from Minnesota for 1 year. That's one. Torre with 2 eyes, Hunter. So your number.
I'll be honest, that was my number 6.
Yeah, wow. If you don't have my number 6, I'll be shocked because I almost kept them on there just for you. Your number 2.
My number 2 is probably, and I'm going to apologize now for my language, but probably one of the toughest sons of bitches that I've ever seen as an astronaut. Don't ever walk up to this man and tell him that the moon landing was fake because he will punch you in the head. Matter of fact, I remember because I follow him on Facebook and I saw his and the funny thing is I think they celebrated his birthday this weekend instead of today. Because I think he was celebrating the anniversary of the Apollo 11 and of the launch of the Apollo 11, and then at the same time they were celebrating his birthday, which of course is today, and that is one John Glenn.
Yep, that's my number 2. Like you said, I saw him. I'm like, okay, I got to throw that on there. I actually forgot that. Yeah, he's the one that if you go up to him and tell him the moon landing was fake, you're gonna be riding in an ambulance very quickly. Even at his age of, what is he, 70, 80? I mean,
he's 86 now.
Yeah. So yeah, John Glenn. You're number 1.
I think my number one and your number one is definitely the same. I think you said it before we even started this date that our number one is probably the same. Um, I probably one of the few people that I look up to politically wise that I actually have the utmost respect for. To go through what he did in South Africa, to endure what he did for close to 30 years is crazy. And then to turn around after he gets let out of prison and becomes the president of South Africa, uh, I think it makes a lot of sense that he should be number one on a lot of people's lists for this day, and that's Nelson Mandela.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely my number one. That was the first name that I actually wrote down in pen. And I
You
wasn't
write it.
moving.
You write yours in pen.
Oh,
No, okay.
actually, I was on the keyboard, and but that's the one. That's the one that I was not moving. I mean, it would have to take somebody uh, very high out to get that moved up. But like you said, when he went through growing up and then becoming a leader, nothing can be said. My number 6, though, I was almost had it on. There was the original guy that they called Machine Gun, and that was Greg Machine Gun Kelly. I had him on my list, and
I had him at number 8.
yeah,
My number 7, and this is the reason why I brought it up backstage. My number 7 is another wrestler,
who was it?
Joey Mercury.
Oh no! I actually got a very nice card through a person I know that when he left WWE, they gave him a box of cards to sign. He never returned them. So I got a card that's uncirculated, signed by him. No, that's not John. No, I'm thinking of
John Morrison.
John Morrison. That's what I'm thinking of. Mercury. I forgot all about him. He's a producer now, I think.
Yeah, because every once in a while you'll see him. I think he works under somebody who may show up later in our lists.
Yep, exactly. All right, so let's move into 2 days from now, June 20th. I will start. Mine is a. Oh wait. This one was tough. I think. Well, you said you have one, I have 2 women on here, so that's going to be kind of 50-50. I'm going to go with 2 because I don't know.
Yeah.
So, so my number 5, want to make sure I got her movies right. So my number 5 is an actress from the early 70s, 80s ish. My phone's not working. So, anyways, so I believe she was in Sound of Music, Miracle on 34th Street, and that's Natalie Woods. So you're number 5.
Natalie Wood. Okay. My number 5 is a singer that we lost way too soon. Matter of fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was still in the United States when this happened. I want to say it was like 2017. Former member of Soundgarden, former lead singer of Audio Slave, has some amazing music. If I would ever recommend a song to anybody, look up Before We Disappear. Absolutely an amazing song. It'll hit you in the feels, and that's Chris Cornell.
Yeah, I saw him on there. No, you're right though. So my number 4, this girl, I tell you, whatever movie I've seen her in, even on the TV show, she gets a different look. She looks like a totally different person. Sometimes you gotta take a double take. She was in the most recent movie remake of Footloose. She was also in I can't think right now what else she was in. She did a little Netflix movie with Dolly Parton. When Dolly did 12 songs of, or made a TV show of her 12 most iconic songs. She's really got her start as a dancer on Dancing with the Stars as one of the pro dancers, went to judge it. Her brother does it, and that's Julianne Hough.
Didn't even see that name.
Yeah, I just yeah. So it knocked one of my guys off. So you're number 4. No, we're
My
at
number my number 4.
4. Yep.
Yeah. Had a career early, a musician. For some reason, this was my musician month and day.
I saw a lot of them. So
Yeah, there was a lot. But he plays guitar. I've never heard this man sing, so I know he's a musician because he doesn't sing much. But has probably, I love the way he plays. He plays guitar absolutely amazing, and then had kind of disappeared for a little bit, and then he comes back, and I want to say like the late 90s, early 2000s with Rob Thomas, and came back and then had that resurgent album where the man won Grammys over Grammys over Grammys that night, and that's Carlos Santana.
Okay. Your Aunt Teresa says hi. One of your members of your fan club is saying hi.
That's my cousin.
Cousin, I'm sorry. Cousin. All right. My number 3, hockey great. Colorado Avalanche, I believe, is where he became fame. Led them to a couple of cups. That's Peter Forsberg.
I wasn't expecting hockey from you. really wasn't expecting hockey.
All right. So what's up with your number 2?
My number 3.
Number 3.
My number 3. It's C2C. It's C2C, and we're getting good at sniping, but this is I think this is the first one that we're going to get together on. But this is also one of those, probably the biggest mystery in Hollywood is the death of this actress, because nobody knows for sure how she died. They just know when she died, and that's Natalie Wood.
I did not know this either. She played Maria in West Side Story. I love that movie.
Yep,
the original. I did not know that until I was just looking it up. So, all right. So we're at number 2 for me, and I believe you had him at number 4. Like you said, for some reason he won a lot of awards, 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Carlos Santana. I don't recall him singing. I just call him.
I've never
bad on the guitar. I mean,
to be honest, I'm not sure if he sang because I know he did Black Magic Woman back in the 70s, but I'm not sure if he's the singer or not.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Carlos Santana, amazing on the guitar. You're number 2.
My number 2. Here's another curveball. I love curveballs, folks, because if he's on your list, I'll be absolutely shocked. Especially if he's at your number 1. My number 2, I like to bring a little history into
Yeah, you do.
I think a lot of people like to learn in a little bit. I can't remember the date, but there is a gentleman, somebody, as we like to say, somebody has to be the first. Always got to be the first. And my number 2 is the first person to ever climb and completely scale Mount Everest, and that is Sir Edmund Hillary.
Okay. Oh, I like that one. Definitely like that. Not my number 1, but yeah, that would have been one hell of a curveball, and we both would have knocked out of the park. But my number 1 is a guy I actually met. Got an autograph, played catch with them per se at a Twins tryout. And that's one Tony Oliva.
I saw that one,
Yeah.
but I'm going to make you really upset with yourself
Uh-oh.
because my number one is a person that I have met as well and have an
Oh, okay.
autograph as well. And I
All
have
right.
told him that he is going to be the second person to be the $100 million man in the NBA. This man was formerly drafted by, and this is where you're going to kick yourself. This man was formerly drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves and then was precededly traded to the Milwaukee Bucks for Stephon Marbury, and to me is probably one of the top 5, if not top 2, 3-point shooters in NBA history, and he goes to my Milwaukee Bucks, only to be traded for Gary Flippin' Payton to the Seattle Supersonics, and then wins championships in Boston and Miami.
Yep.
And that is one Ray Allen.
Yeah, I saw him. I
Of
can't believe we have him at number 1, though. I mean,
course.
but yeah.
3 days older than he is. I'm 3 days older because he's born in the same year.
Yep.
3 days older.
Yeah, that trade. We're not going to talk. Second worst trade in Minnesota history. Yeah.
And truthfully, no. Wait. There's a bigger trade that sucks even more if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, and that is Dallas trading. That is Dallas trading Robert Tractor Trailer to the Milwaukee Bucks for a German man named Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bad trade, but not as bad as Minnesota's. All right. Well, we got 2.
I really thought you had Ray Allen.
No.
I honestly didn't think Natalie Wood or Carlos Santana were going to be the 2 that we got.
Yeah. I had Benjamin Molina on there.
I did too, and then I realized it's not the right Molina.
No, and that's why I would have said he's not the right Molina, but still to grow up in that family. I mean,
right.
All right, so let's move on to the 27th here. Man, this one could be tough. Because if we go one way, because I don't remember any historical figures stepping out. So if we went way, we could go 5 for 5. I don't think we will because you'll find somebody. I'm going to safely go 3.
3?
Yeah.
I'm. It's going to be funny because I'm going to go 3. Which 3 is it going to be? I'll give you 3. I think 3 is a possibility.
All right.
I'll tell you my curveballs though. It's going to be really funny because I met one of them. Another person I met before he ended up dying.
All right, go ahead and number 5.
My number 5. They the first person. I always see this guy. I was when he first got into Major League Baseball. I always confused him with another player in Major League Baseball. And it's funny because they ended up becoming teammates later, and it really confused me. Because for some reason they kind of looked like each other, and then you find out that they kind of were friends, and it's even weirder. But the thing that my number 5 played on the same team as Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner, Randy Johnson, and started out in Seattle as a shortstop. Which is hilarious. Then he goes to Crispy's Texas Rangers for what was it, $250 million at the time? Yeah. Holy smokes! Just so he could do what? Spend money on steroids. So that's fine. That's cool. Don't tell Crispy I said that. So and then goes and plays for the Evil Empire, which nobody was shocked about. To go play third base against the guy I thought was his twin, Derek Jeter. I don't know why I always thought those two looked alike. And then what is he now? The partial owner of your Timberwolves?
Yep.
And that's Aroyd himself, Alex Rodriguez.
Now that you said that, yeah, I can see how you can get the, at a younger age, those two, standing next to each other. I can see how you could kind of mistake them for one another. So, my number 5, we're gonna go with the wrestling route here. I kind of joke with certain people on Between the Ropes that he's overrated.
I've got 3 between 1 through 6. I've got 3 wrestlers. This could be funny.
They touted him and they've used the character as the next Shawn Michaels. He came up in a couple different characters, but a lot of people know him for his cheerleading days in the Spirit Squad. Yeah, and that's Nicholas Namath, better known as Dolph Ziggler. You're number 4.
I hate you. Because my number 4 is the Ziggle Man himself. I had him on there. I'm gonna be honest. My number 6 is Matt Osborne, the former Doink the Clown. I got lucky enough to meet him as Doink. But yeah, I saw Ziggles and I'm going, God, Ziggles had to be on the list. The man. The thing is, Dolph does everything you need.
He is.
He's a hell of a worker.
Oh, he is. And that's the thing. Is like I said, I get under the skin of certain people because he is a great worker. I always call him overrated, but the mic skills and this.
Who do you bother with by saying
Ace.
Who?
Ace.
Oh,
Yeah. Him. Ziggler and Milf. The Miz. Like if you tell Ace that they're overrated, that he will just like get rid of the face and start just going off. It's kind of funny to get him going on something.
I love Ziggler.
He is great. I like him.
I truthfully think if you're gonna build a school around anybody, I think Ziggler is probably one of those guys you do. It's Shawn Michaels and Dolph Ziggler. You put them both together, they will make the best worker school in the business.
Yep. No doubt. All right, so my number 4, we're going with a third. He is, he's currently the quarterback in the NFL. A journeyman, but
is he?
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, true. I guess it depends on how this team goes, but he was a journeyman, and for some reason, he gets latched onto a team. They win, but they don't win the big one. And that's Ryan Tannehill the third.
I saw that one. He's my, and I'll be honest. He's my number 7.
Yeah. All right, you're number 3.
My number 3 is a man who I'm gonna say it now. He's a wrestler. My number 3. I remember him as one of the first things I remember him for was having that squash match. Basically, that squash match against the Ultimate Warrior, where he no sells his finisher. Yeah. Where the Warrior no sells his finisher. And I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. And then proceeds to get fired after that. This is one of those. This is the guy that everybody says, he slept his way to the top. No, he's another one that's a hell of a worker.
It didn't hurt, let's just say.
It didn't hurt. Yeah, like I said, it didn't hurt. It's to say it's the only one that actually got screwed for the curtain call at Madison Square Garden, because if the curtain call doesn't happen, Steve Austin doesn't win King of the Ring, as it's very well documented in Milwaukee. Then 316 doesn't happen, and then we don't hit Austin and the feud. Yep. The man loves this business, and it's great that he's got a great mind for the business. As long as his father-in-law stays out of his business, I think it's amazing. And that is one former WCW wrestler, Tara Rison, also known as Paul Levesque, but as we all like to call him, Papa H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the game, Triple H.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I mean. C2C ain't C2C, but that's my number 3. Is Paul Levesque, Triple H. I mean, you don't have DX, you don't have, as even Eric Bischoff said, you probably had the most iconic segment in both WWE and WCW if they opened the garage door. And
Right. Exactly.
WCW wasn't opening the garage door, and Bischoff was in the meeting. He said if he was there, he would open up the door. And
no, he wasn't in the meeting. He was in the ring, and no, he didn't.
Well, yeah, he was doing something. I thought it was.
He was in the ring, and if they, like how they do with he said if they had given him the earpiece, they'd have just let him in.
Yep, he would have left him right in there. But yeah, Paul Levesque, I think we've had Steph on there, one list, but yeah, WWE could be totally different if Vince just steps aside and let the son-in-law run it. So,
yep.
All right, you're number 2.
My number 2, the guy is an actor, but he's most people know his brother. His brother's a little more famous for everything that he's done, but I love this guy as an actor. I think he's brilliant. He played an assistant football coach on a TV show with Craig T. Nelson when he was Hayden Fox. That was Craig T. Nelson, not my number 2. But I love him because he always plays this dopey guy, but he's been an actor. He was in series since the 1960s. And that's Jerry Van Dyke, Dick Van Dyke's little brother.
I didn't even know his real name, but yeah, I do. When you say assistant coach, I'm like, okay, who's his brother now? Like you said, he always even in the TV show Coach, he played that goofy character, and he was the offensive coordinator, wasn't he?
Yeah,
the tall guy was the defensive
because Patrick Starr was the defensive coordinator. Everybody keeps forgetting that Bill Fagerbocke, who does the voice of Patrick Starr, was in Coach.
Yeah. So my number 2 as a golfer, we're going in the golfing world. Possibly this generation's, not per se title wise, but popularity, Tiger Woods. And I think he just recently won overseas somewhere in a tournament for the first time, which was emotional for him. Got the first name of the GOAT, Michael Jordan, and that's Jordan Spieth at number 2. So you're number 1.
I saw that one. I didn't go that way.
Obviously.
Number 1. I know that we grew up in the 70s and some of the 80s, but some of the big TV shows that came out of the 70s, like All in the Family, and we don't get Carol O'Connor if we don't, as Archie Bunker, we don't get Sherman Hemsley as George Jefferson. We don't get Marley Gibbs. Those were 2 shows that pushed a lot of hot topics and a lot of hot buttons. Oh, yeah. 2 shows out of the 2 shows that you can't do now, because it would really upset and spoil the apple cart. But my number 1 is Norman Lear, the writer of those 2 shows.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah, those shows in general. I know. What was it last year? It might have even been COVID year that they were bringing back certain episodes and they were redoing them with current actors on there. I kind of wish they bring that show back. I can't remember what it was called, but I mean, granted, those shows would be very. Right. You would have to rewrite some of the wording. So,
yeah.
We're not bad. 3 out of 5. I think that's kind of our average lately. So we're going with the 29th. A couple days before the end of the month. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go a solid 3, but I could see 4,
Could see 4.
possibly 5, but I don't. I doubt it.
Let's see. Go ahead. I think if we get 4, I think the one that you're thinking is going to be number 4 is going to be my honorable mention for somebody else.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think three is possible.
Yeah.
I think 4 might be pushing it.
All right. Yeah. I'll go solid 3.
Okay.
All right. So I think all but one of my lists had a wrestler on there. So we got to start with number 5. One half of the arguably greatest tag teams around, at least top 5 in most categories. His nephew is currently on the NXT roster, and his brother is the dog-faced gremlin. So out of Michigan, the Steiner brothers, Scott Steiner. So
Good one.
you're number 5.
My number 5. You're waiting for me to say C2C. It's not C2C unless you snipe something. I'm not going to say that. PBS had this thing, and this man is a documentarian. He's a director, puts a lot of work together. Has probably some of the best documentary series I've ever seen. He did a hell of a documentary on the Civil War. He did a documentary on baseball. And it's probably one of the best I've ever seen. I think the man deserves. I think the Emmys, because that's TV. The Emmys need to give this man a Lifetime Achievement Award. But he's amazing in the stuff he does. Does great homework to do what he does, and that's Ken Burns.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that name. When you started talking, I thought maybe we nailed another one. We might. Who knows yet? So, what are you doing, dude? My monkey boy back there is climbing. All right. All right. So, my number 4, we're going football route. We're going Dallas Cowboys, as much as I don't want to talk about them. Crispy will like this pick. Number 4, but for some reason can't get it done in the postseason. 17 seconds left on the clock, no timeouts, and he runs right down the middle of the field and cost the game. And that's one Ryan Prescott, but we know him as Dak. So, you're number 3.
So I'm gonna say my honorable mention now. my honorable mention is Dak Prescott.
Okay.
But my number 4. Probably one of the. I'm gonna say this. People are gonna look at me going, "Oh, Canadian." My brother's gonna love it because he's from Canada. He's gonna watch this, and later he's gonna kill me. So this is probably my last show. But probably one of the greatest Canadian bands to ever put together some music, and he's the lead singer of Rush, and that's Geddy Lee.
Okay. Yeah, we're
missing everything.
Well, Dak, I figured we were going to have on there. So if we got 3, we're going to be squeaking it by here. When you talk journalist, I actually thought you were talking about this guy because he's another one too that I think there's got to be some kind of achievement award for him because growing up, if it wasn't breaking news or major news, he wasn't a part of it. So anything that was major, this guy, CNN, I think, had him on forever.
But that was ABC. ABC had him on all the time.
ABC, and that's Peter Jennings. At number 3, you're number 3.
We're gonna be sneaking. We're gonna be if we do this. This is gonna be these last 3, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not C2C unless you snipe. My number 3 is known as Big Papa Pump. Holler if you hear me. The Freakazoid himself, and that's and my number 3 is your number 5, Scotty Steiner.
Wow. I think I don't think we're hitting 3 because unless you pull it out. Oh man. Because my number 2, because I know you, if this is your number 2, you'll talk about how you used to travel, listen to country music and all that, and my number 2 is Martina McBride.
This is gonna get worse. This is gonna get worse, right? She's my number 6. But what makes this even worse is she opened for Merle Haggard.
Yep, I figured you would have some kind of story.
and I have a picture of Martina McBride waving to me as I'm taking a picture, but she's my number 6.
Oh wow.
She's my number 6. My number 2. Oh Lord. My number 2 is in the wrestling is again in wrestling. Born in Rome, Italy, but is also known is also the reason why Cyndi Lauper was in the WWF.
Oh, did I miss him?
As the reason he shows up and plays Cyndi Lauper's father in 2 different videos. I believe it's True Colors and Girls Want to Have Fun. I had no idea he was Italian born until I looked it up today. I remember for the longest time I still to this second don't understand why he had rubber bands taped to his face, but that's okay. I don't need to question greatness, and that is one Captain Lou Albano.
Did not even see him on the list. Oh my god.
It's not. It's okay. It's not Tony Gwynn.
Yeah. Well, it could be awfully close. I mean, depending on what probably didn't see him because I didn't know his real name. It didn't stick out. I know him as Captain Lou. So we're at number 1. Me and Tim met in a nightclub. I DJ'd. I closed out plenty of nights using this group's song. As a matter of fact, it was one of the last songs I sang when I was in school, middle school, before I moved from Brooklyn Center. Got to finally meet these guys a couple of years ago. Saw them twice within a span of 2 months. If you guys follow me on Facebook, you know who I'm talking about because my picture will never change. And that's Wanye Morris of the Backstreet Boys, Boys to Men. You're number 1.
My number 1. Yeah, we're not making that. We're not even going to make 2 at this point.
Oh wow!
I put this on. I put this. Now, my beautiful, lovely wife, who don't know, who doesn't know, is Italian. What you also don't know is, and I don't think Brandon knows this, it's that she picked this date, which makes it even worse. My wife and I are going to have a long conversation about this when she comes home from work this evening. Because this was the first name that I saw.
Uh-oh.
And I'm doing it to prove a point. World War II was a terrible time. Did you see the name on the list? Just
I don't know.
When you think of terrible, terrible people in World War II, you think of 2 people. You think of Adolf Hitler, and you think of my number 1. I'm going to tell my wife later this was a bad idea. My number 1 was most famous, or if you're an American and anybody who wasn't part of the Axis powers, was considered the most infamous, second most infamous person in World War II. And we're not talking Adolf Hitler. We are talking about a terrible person by the name of Benito Mussolini. My wife, the Italian, gives me this day, and the first name I see is Benito Mussolini.
Yeah,
Thank-
I saw that name. It was
Thank
one
you,
of
hon.
those.
Thank you, hon. I love you so much. I'm never asking you for dates again.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad one. God, I really thought you would have had Peter Jennings on there, but you went the other route. And I thought for sure you'd have Wanya Morris somewhere on there.
I'll be honest, I didn't even see it.
So, but again, that's our list. So, final thoughts, Tim?
I love these lists. I really do. Thanks everybody for watching. If you guys got any lists, our messenger is always open. Don't be afraid to
Yep.
jot us a line because we'll do the best we can.
Yep. Exactly. So next week's show, I gotta talk to Tim behind stages because I'm busy on Tuesday. Got some family stuff going on. So most likely it'll probably be Monday is our backup date. So we'll discuss that and let you guys know. But with that being said, keep checking out C2C all week long. On deck coming up Saturday. Myself, Tim, if he shows up, Greg and Crispy Bacon, morning tailgate, along with myself and Tim and Crispy Bacon will premiere probably August, the first week in August when preseason starts up. Get your football knowledge ready because we'll be ready tonight. Like I said, between the ropes with Ace and mess around in the gang, hopefully.
And I'll be talking.
Sports Minute tomorrow, Wednesday, and then just keep checking us out. We got some great stuff planned. So with that being said, thank you, Tim. Thank you, cousin Teresa, the president of Tim's fan club. We'll see you next week on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.